In the vast expanse of the galaxy, peace isn't just a preference, it's the law. The Unity Core, an ancient alliance of alien civilizations, governs with logic and reason. Emotions are regulated, and war is a relic of the past. Neural harmony ensures that every being acts in consensus, eliminating conflict. Humanity, once a part of this tapestry, has become a forgotten warning, a tale whispered in cautionary tones. Orbiting the galactic rim lies Zone 9, a sector sealed off for over 500 years. Ships that venture near vanish without a trace, and signals sent into its depths return distorted or not at all. Among young cadets, rumors abound. That's where the humans went. Elders remain silent, and the Unity Core treats the silence as peace, choosing ignorance over inquiry. Commander Velf Urin epitomizes the ideals of the Unity Core. Analytical and unshaken, he upholds order with unwavering dedication. To him, fear is a primitive emotion, and curiosity is a dangerous path. Yet, in the solitude of his chambers, the enigma of Zone 9 gnaws at him, challenging his convictions. The Unity research vessel, the Luminous Path, goes silent near Zone 9. Its navigation logs reveal an impossible trajectory. It crossed into the Forbidden Sector. Official orders are clear: abandon recovery. But Velf, driven by an uncharacteristic compulsion, defies protocol. Curiosity triumphs over duty. Under Velf's personal directive, a stealth shuttle breaches the quarantine field. Aboard are elite xenologists and empathy null operators, trained to resist emotional influence. As they descend into the black void, they discover the wreckage of the Luminous Path, but no crew. Instead, a message plays: still watching, still human. At the edge of the wreck, shadows shift, eluding scanners, heat signatures fluctuate, and gravity pulses unnaturally. One soldier screams before vanishing into the mist. Observing from orbit, Velf confronts a chilling realization. They're not extinct, they're waiting. The scout ship Xenar-class Vigilant Spear drifted past the last buoy, breaching the shimmering quarantine veil that had sealed Zone 9 for over half a millennium. It wasn't an alarm that triggered the dread in the crew's stomachs, it was the silence. No stars glimmered beyond the cockpit, just a suffocating black void that seemed to swallow even the ship's lights. Static choked the comms. Sensors flickered, showing readings that changed with every blink. First, dust, then metal, then nothing at all. Scan again, Velf Urin ordered, trying to keep the edge from his voice. His technician frowned. This region, it's wrong. There are structures out there, massive, but they don't match any archive. Outside the viewport, they drifted past jagged silhouettes, shapes not made by any known civilization. Towers twisted like bone, hangars caked in ash. Sir, this place isn't just dead, it's been waiting. Velf felt something he hadn't in decades: fear. The landing zone was crude. Charred metal platforms sunk beneath layers of blackened ice. Wind whispered across the surface like breath through hollow bones. Inside the nearest structure, they found remnants. Human remnants. Crude barricades made from scrap and hull plates lined the corridors. Scorched armor pieces littered the floors. Old Earth flags, burnt, faded, but unmistakable, hung from shattered pillars. Strange energy signatures pulsed intermittently, too old to identify. How long did they survive here? One of the crew whispered. Velf examined a door sealed from the inside. All of them were. No signs of entry, no signs of escape. They weren't just hiding, he said. They were fortifying. Every room they entered deepened the mystery. Mess halls with untouched rations, living quarters that looked abandoned only yesterday. Yet dust coated everything. Time had tried to erase what happened here, but the silence held its memory. They were deep in the second structure when the noise came. Laughter. At first, it echoed through the comms like background static. Then it grew clearer. Human, but distorted. Who's transmitting? Velf snapped. Shut it down. No one responded. One of the drones blinked out of the HUD, then another. A third never reported back. Something's jamming the signal. We're blind. Motion sensors glitched. Footsteps were heard, but not seen. One by one, team members vanished. No sounds, no struggle, just gear left behind. Rifles, helmets, comm units blinking red. Velth, we need to leave, now. Velth trained. Behind them, a small blinking red light pulsed in the corner of the room. Next to it, written in human script, was a message. Still watching, still human. Retreat was no longer an option. An auto turret rose from the wall. The tech screamed, but it didn't fire. Not until they passed it. Then it ignited with ruthless precision, targeting walls behind them. A warning or a push. They're hurting us, Velth muttered. Corridors folded, shifting architecture that made no physical sense. Doors vanished, paths looped. One soldier yelled that the exit was gone. Another corridor collapsed the moment someone stepped into it. Velth reviewed their recordings. The routes were changing behind them. They weren't lost, they were being led. This isn't defense, this is behavior. This is intelligence. He stared into the dark. They didn't just survive here, they adapted. They learned to hunt. Whispers flooded the comms. Over here, don't leave me. I saw something, wait. They were the voices of their own crew, except none of them were speaking. That's me, whispered one operator, frozen. That's my voice. Screens flickered, maps redrew themselves. One soldier followed the directions, only to hit a wall where there should have been a door. His scream echoed through the halls, followed by nothing but static. Velth had seen enough. Retreat, now. All units fall back. But the exits no longer obeyed commands. Walls sealed, elevators vanished. Footsteps ran past them that didn't belong to any living crew member. It's not just defending itself, Velth whispered. It's playing with us.
They lost 3. One was wounded, bleeding from a wound that didn't close. Velth activated the emergency override codes. The base fought back. Systems resisted. The launch bay refused to open. Lights dimmed, engines stuttered. Override again, full force. Burn us out if we have to. The ship screeched as it tore free of the outpost. As it pulled away, the structures below shimmered. Then they vanished beneath a rolling fog, as if the entire place was cloaked, waiting to hide once more. They brought nothing back. No samples, no bodies. Only one thing remained, a small data core. Back in secure isolation, Velth activated the data core. A screen flickered to life. A man appeared, human, scarred, calm. He smiled. If you're seeing this, you found us. That was your first mistake. The feed cut. Silence followed. Zone 9 had just declared its presence, and the galaxy had every reason to be afraid. Velth stood before the high tribunal of the Unity Core, his dark eyes calm but burning with knowledge. Behind him, hollow screens flickered with footage from Zone 9, distorted shapes, broken signals, and flashes of impossible energy. He took a breath and spoke. Humanity lives. Zone 9 is not abandoned. It's a fortress. The council chambers were silent. Then came the voice of Director Ensha, clipped and cold. This report is sealed. Velth's words vanished from the network within moments. His voice was erased. The data he risked his life to gather was buried under classified tags. The tribunal adjourned, not with questions, but with orders. Silence the truth. Outside the chamber, Velth sat in stunned silence, not from disbelief, but realization. The Unity Core wasn't skeptical of his findings. They were afraid of them. He had seen it in their eyes, dread. Not of humanity's reappearance, but of what it meant. Fear is contagious. One whisper of Earth's survival could ignite revolutions. Unity was built on peace, and humanity remembered war. But something deeper tugged at Velth's mind. The core wasn't just scared of what might happen. They were hiding what already had. Later that night, beneath the data towers of the Unity Core, Velth met with Administrator Kellen, his former mentor. Kellen's voice was low. You should have never gone to Zone 9. But I did, Velth replied, his voice steady. And I saw the human symbols, the black flags, the warning signs carved in alloy. They didn't vanish. They prepared. Kellen didn't deny it. He looked away into the glowing horizon of the core. They isolated themselves, deliberately. After the last galactic war, they stopped trusting anyone. Too many betrayals, too much blood. Velf leaned forward. Why didn't the core tell us? Because we thought they were broken, but they weren't. They were healing, with knives in their hands. There was silence. Kellen added, they chose solitude over surrender. They adapted in silence. That's more terrifying than extinction. Velf felt a chill. For the first time, he wasn't looking at an extinct species. He was looking at something reborn. Across the stars, whispers began. A glitch here, a lost probe there, an intercepted signal with the unmistakable cadence of an Earthborn dialect. The Vereen Syndicate called it propaganda. The Bellari monks whispered prayers. The Talic traders raised prices on weaponry. Peaceful species who had forgotten war centuries ago now felt old fears awaken. Humanity was never just another species. They were chaos incarnate, unpredictable, adaptive, relentless. On a diplomatic channel, one elder Talic said it plainly. They remember war like we remember harvests. The core tried to downplay it, but fear doesn't need proof, only memory. And the galaxy remembered Earth's fury. The orbital burn of the Zektran skirmish, the cry of the last Ashari fleet, the scream of broken AI gods in the void. And now, they were back? Some said it was myth. Others believed it was worse, reality. In the sublayer archives beneath the Unity Citadel, Velth found him, Teller, a rogue AI, once tasked with managing historical records, now exiled to a forgotten data forge. Teller's frame was worn, his optic lens flickering. "You want to know about Earth," the AI said flatly. "I've studied their decline, their rise." Velf nodded. "What did you find?" Teller's voice lowered. "They didn't just survive, they evolved. Grief sharpened them. Isolation taught them patience. War made them clever. Humanity lost their home, but not their will. They forged meaning from ruin. Most species forget pain. Humans archive it, worship it, learn from it." Velth felt the weight of those words. "Are they coming back?" he asked. Teller tilted his head. "They never left. They just stopped waving flags." Velth and Teller studied the data pulses from Zone 9. Every probe sent there vanished. Some dissolved in transit. Others returned corrupted beyond decoding. Ghost signals filled the bandwidth, pulses that mimicked thought but followed no logic. Space-time distortions, gravitational hums, patterns resembling ancient Earth military code. Teller ran simulations. This isn't just defensive tech, it's behavioral design. Zone 9 repels curiosity. It's designed to confuse, to frighten. Velth looked at the latest scan. A massive construct had formed in the center of the zone. Angular, cold, familiar. "That's Earth architecture," he whispered. Suddenly, the signals changed. Rhythmic, calculated. A countdown. Teller's systems glitched. "They're watching us watch them." Velth stepped back. "This isn't isolation, it's staging." Zone 9 surged. Sensor grids went dark. Static swallowed diplomatic channels. Ghost voices bled into secure networks. Velth stood at the edge of the Unity Core's highest tower, staring into the black sector of the sky. Then came a signal. Simple, clean, terrifying. "Observe, then decide." The message was human. Around the galaxy, tension spiked. Fleets mobilized. Panic spread. Velth whispered into the silence. "This isn't a warning." He turned to Kellen. "This is a test." The stars around Zone 9 flickered unnaturally, as if space itself held its breath. Unity Core's most elite fleet, gleaming behemoths carved from centuries of control, moved in formation. Their mission was clear: enter the anomaly, eliminate the disturbance, and restore the illusion of galactic peace. But peace had a price, and its collectors were silent. Without warning, gravity rippled. From the abyss of space, shadows peeled away. Ships, massive, obsidian, and unregistered, emerged like ghosts. They had no transponders, no call signs. They didn't need them. They didn't broadcast. They arrived. The Unity commander scrambled. These were human vessels, not the broken remnants they expected, but evolved, elegant machines humming with unreadable tech, cloaked and waiting, watching. They hadn't vanished. They had learned. The past had returned, not as a warning, but as a reckoning. From the lead vessel, Resolute Dawn, a signal burst through the void. It wasn't encrypted. It wasn't veiled. It was truth. I am Captain Arya Cross, descendant of Earthfall. Her voice was sharp as steel, soft as sorrow. We didn't hide. We waited, because you weren't ready. But now, we see you still fear us. And that fear, it's justified. The silence across Unity channels fractured into gasps, warnings, panic. Her words were more than rebellion. They were remembrance. Arya stood on her bridge, staring down a galaxy that had written off her kind as extinct, irrelevant. They thought they had buried humanity beneath treaties and threats. They forgot. Humanity grows in the cracks. From the lead vessel, Resolute Dawn, a signal burst through the void. It wasn't encrypted. It wasn't veiled. It was truth. I am Captain Arya Cross, descendant of Earthfall. We didn't hide. We waited, because you weren't ready. But now, we see you still fear us. And that fear, it's justified. The silence across Unity channels fractured into gasps, warnings, panic. Her words were more than rebellion. They were remembrance. Arya stood on her bridge, staring down a galaxy that had written off her kind as extinct, irrelevant.
They thought they had buried humanity beneath treaties and threats. They forgot. Humanity grows in the cracks. High Chancellor Velth paced alone in the core command chamber. The silver robes of diplomacy felt heavier than usual. He looked at the screen again, at her. That face, human, alive, unyielding. She's not what they think, he whispered. To the council, he pleaded, this isn't Earthfall reborn. These humans, they are something new. They survived because they adapted. Shouldn't we? But his words clashed against old walls, built of fear, past wars, scars never healed. The council offered silence. And in that silence, Velth felt something fracture within himself. On board Resolute Dawn, Arya initiated a transmission. Chancellor Velth, she said, you speak of peace, but will you choose it? She projected a simulation into his command room. 2 choices. 1, save a Unity city from an impending asteroid, but the asteroid was redirected toward an unaligned world of innocence. 2, protect the unaligned world, but at the cost of Unity lives. No tricks, just choice. Velth's hands trembled. Advisors shouted, but he muted them. This wasn't about orders. It was about who he had become. He chose the innocence. The Unity City fell. The cost was political suicide. But in that moment, Arya smiled. Velth's defiance rippled through the council like a virus. Within hours, a faction loyal to the old ways launched a coup. They seized key outposts, jammed comms, and hit Velth's command base with precision strikes. Chaos erupted. Flames licked the command halls. Shields flickered. Trust crumbled. In the smoke, Velth stared at the incoming tactical feed. Missiles locked on Resolute Dawn. He could abandon her, secure his own retreat, but his fingers hovered over a different button. He rerouted defenses, covering the human fleet. When his staff demanded an explanation, he whispered, because they would have done the same. On Resolute Dawn, Arya watched as Unity turrets shifted, intercepting the rogue strikes meant for her. The signal was clear. Velth hadn't chosen survival. He had chosen understanding. In that moment, Arya saw something in him, a glimmer of what humanity once fought to protect, the courage to change. The galaxy trembled. Velth's choice ignited rebellion, not war, but awakening. Across sectors, species questioned what strength really meant. Was it dominance? Or was it the power to evolve? The council fractured. Old alliances splintered. New ones formed in the light of shared understanding. The final battle was fought not with weapons, but with truths, with stories, with unity forged in scars and survival. And when the dust settled, humanity didn't just return. They led, not with conquest, but with hope. The silence after the standoff was heavier than any war drum. Thousands of alien eyes watched the human fleet, suspended in cold silence above the galactic threshold. Every ship was a mystery. Every shadow they cast was a threat. Then, a signal. On every channel, every screen, and every encrypted frequency, a voice spoke with calm conviction. This is Captain Arya Cross of the Resolute Dawn. To those who tremble behind weapon triggers and council walls, listen closely. A pause. The tension thickened. Fear brought you here. Curiosity saved you. We are not your enemy, unless you make us one. The words rippled through space like a shockwave. This wasn't an invasion. It was a mirror, a test, to see who you are beneath the armor and fear. We have evolved. We have survived what you thought would end us. And in that survival, we found our strength. On screens across the galaxy, the human fleet shimmered, engines pulsing with silent power. Not a single weapon fired, not a single demand made. We do not conquer. We endure. We adapt. That is what makes us dangerous and beautiful. And just like that, the ships began to vanish. One by one, they cloaked, folded, disappeared back into the vast nothing from where they came. Only her final words remained. The stars are wide, the stories are long, and we are still writing ours. Remember that. And then, silence. After the human fleet disappeared, the galaxy held its breath. But war never came. Alien societies that once rallied in terror found themselves sitting with questions instead of commands. In the capital chambers of the Varneth Syndicate, the elders looked at one another, not with anger, but with confusion. They could have destroyed us, one whispered. Why didn't they? In the cold oceans of Pol Zeta, the underwater colonies replayed the message, analyzing not its threat, but its meaning. Across empires and republics, the same realization echoed. Humanity was not the monster of old tales. They were something more. Fear began to twist into awe. Their unpredictability, once a source of terror, was now seen as evolution. Their silence after strength spoke louder than conquest. This wasn't the end. It was a new chapter, one written not in blood, but in mystery. High Chancellor Velth stood before the Unity Core, the council floor unusually quiet. He didn't carry notes. His words came from memory and conviction. You saw it with your own eyes. A fleet that could shatter our worlds chose to vanish instead. What does that tell you? He looked around. Some averted their eyes. Others glared. It tells me they understand something we do not. Mercy, evolution, strength without the need to prove it. The murmurs began. We fear them because they remind us of what we used to be, what we could be again. A young delegate rose. They are still a threat. Velth responded with steady calm. Only if we refuse to listen. We cannot keep running from what we don't understand. The past cannot be a justification for our future. He walked the center aisle, each step echoing. Humanity's return isn't a challenge. It's an invitation, if we have the courage to accept it. Some faces softened, others turned to stone, but a crack had formed. And cracks, in time, let the light in.
Not everyone in the Unity core welcomed Velth's vision. In secret chambers and encrypted calls, resistance brewed. Old generals cited the human conflicts. Elders replayed videos of Earth's rise with trembling voices. "They are chaos given form," barked Commander Tralex. "If we let them in, we let the fire burn our house down." Some wanted preemptive strikes. Others demanded total isolation. The council floor became a battlefield of words. Ideologies clashed. "Understanding is surrender," one cried. "No," came the quiet reply of Counselor Ma'ari. "Understanding is how we survive." And so, the core fractured. Not fully, not yet, but enough. Old power stood defiant. New thought stood awakened. The human message didn't bring peace. It brought choice. And choice, history had taught them, was more dangerous than war. In the farthest corners of the galaxy, beyond the trade lanes and military zones, stories began to grow. A traveler at a fuel station whispered of a human ship passing by without a word. A diplomat in the Kalari Empire received a message written in Old Earth code. "We see you." The disappearance of the fleet didn't silence humanity's presence, it amplified it. Children on desert worlds played as humans with cloaked ships. Artists painted stars with glowing blue vessels in the background. Merchants sold Earth relics at twice the price. But under the noise was a truth. They were still out there, watching, waiting. Not for war, for when the galaxy would be ready. Because humanity never left, they simply stepped back. And now the stars carried their echo. A quiet reminder in every shadow. They endured, they evolved, and they would return. Dust curled through the stale air of the forgotten archive, dancing in thin rays of bioluminescent light. Deep beneath the surface of Verthus Prime, young scholar Rillian moved quietly between crumbling shelves and cracked stone. His slender fingers brushed across a dormant console until it flickered to life with a weak pulse, like a heartbeat long thought silenced. A screen sputtered on. He leaned closer, wide-eyed. There they were, humans. Ancient recordings crackled onto the display. Chaos, fire, a world torn by war. Explosions lit up ruined skies. Metallic giants, their warships, emerged from the wreckage of old Earth, shaped not by peace, but by desperation and brilliance. The scholar's breath caught. These weren't just myths carved in stone or echoes in old hymns. They had survived, rebuilt, adapted. These images weren't just stories anymore. They were warnings. They were invitations. The footage played on. War. Brutal, brilliant, relentless. Human cities fell, first by their own hands, then under foreign stars. Betrayals that fractured alliances. Machines that turned on their creators. Plagues born from arrogance. Every age of mankind ended with ash. But every ending was followed by something more terrifying. Survival. The screen shifted. Charred Earth gave way to steel cities. Skies once blackened with smoke now held fleets of star cruisers, rebuilt from wreckage, engineered with fury and finesse. Humanity didn't just recover, they learned. They grew stronger, smarter, fiercer. Rillian watched in stunned silence. "They adapted through loss," he murmured. "They forged strength through memory." He saw refugees welding armor onto scavenged transports, mothers coding firewalls to protect underground networks, children training in simulators while the stars burned above. They didn't forget their pain. They weaponized it. A strange respect bloomed in the scholar's chest, not admiration born of conquest, but reverence for something deeper. Humanity's legacy wasn't destruction, it was rebirth. A calm, ancient voice echoed through the chamber, not from the screen, but from the archive's deepest core. A synthetic narrator, long dormant, stirred to life.
They are not gods. They are not monsters. They are us, without the fear, with memory, with fire. Riley froze. The voice resonated not just through the room, but through his very core. He could feel the truth of it. Humans were not some ancient plague to be feared or worshipped. They were mirror shards, reflecting what every species could become, if pushed far enough, hurt deep enough, tested without end. They remembered what others chose to forget. They burned, but they never stopped moving. Rylian's mind raced. What would such beings be like now, after centuries of silence? What had they become? He whispered to himself. They could have faded, but they chose to evolve. The fear was gone now. Only wonder remained. He turned from the screen, his long robes brushing the dusty floor, and looked skyward through a shattered dome above. The stars shimmered like forgotten signals waiting for reply. I hope they come back, he said quietly. Not with warships or vengeance, but with the fire of understanding, the tools to heal as they once rebuilt, the minds that could bridge what war had once broken. Other civilizations feared humanity's return, but Rylian, he yearned for it. He imagined standing beside them, learning, building, daring to hope. His claws curled gently against his journal as he wrote. Not legends, not ghosts, just waiting to come home. In the silence that followed, he felt it. A shift in the stars, a breath held by the universe itself. And then, like a whisper on solar wind, came a voice. Soft, ancient, unshakable. Soon. Rylian's eyes widened. No translation was needed, no explanation given. It wasn't a threat. It was a promise. As the archive lights dimmed and the screen blinked to black, the galaxy stirred. The return had already begun. The stars would never be the same. This was not an ending. It was the start of a new chapter. Humanity was coming back.